Therese here. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards. So we've started this week with a pretty big bang in energy. We just had the new moon in Scorpio, and this one feels, it felt to me a lot like the eclipses that just passed. Because we had a stellium going on during the last full moon, which was the lunar eclipse that happened. We had the stellium happening in Scorpio, and it's been going on this whole time, and it's still happening with the new moon in Scorpio. So we've got a lot of Scorpio energy, and Scorpio really is about this deep digging, this deep dive to get to the truth. And this has been the energy that we have been working with now, what it feels like the entirety of Scorpio season and the eclipses. They came together, and it was really about getting to the heart of something, and something has to go that doesn't work in your life anymore. And sometimes with Scorpio being involved, because it's ruled by Pluto, it can feel really unpleasant, like you're not ready for it to go, but it's time. You know, Pluto is the power purge planet. So what it's doing is it wants to empower you, and it's purging that which is seeping power away from you or keeping you out of your power. So with the new moon that just happened in Scorpio, one of the questions that I had people meditate on is what's interrupting your power? Because that's the thing that's getting the electric jolt of attention right now from all this Scorpio energy. So we have the sun, the moon, and Mars in Scorpio, and this represents our being state, our feeling state, and our action taking. So you can see it's all about I want to get down to the heart of it. So many people are getting there. But if you're not doing the digging yourself, you're still going in. You're still going in and getting to the heart of it. It just feels like it's happening to you rather than you creating that deep digging feeling. So if you're noticing that things kind of feel like they're, the feeling I get for some people is like a wrecking ball, right? Like just this thing that I've been working on or building, whether it's a relationship or a business or maybe something that you're doing in your life to kind of create an outcome, you might feel like that's been getting smashed. And the message behind it is it's getting smashed because it's not the right path for you. It's not actually in alignment with who you are and what you on a soul level want. And so it's being cleared, and it can feel really intense. And with that energy, there's just a lot of emotional energy that comes up with it. Scorpio is a water sign. We had most of the planets in water signs with that new moon. So we had about 5 planets in water signs. So a lot of emotion, a lot of tears coming out. But again, tears are another way of detoxifying, of clearing poison or toxin out of the body. And so it's one of those purification processes that isn't as maybe gentle as we would like it to be. I know when I think about purification, I feel like, selenite here. I've got some right here. I feel like selenite. Selenite's a purification crystal, and there's something very soothing and gentle about it. And that's just not the version we're getting. We're getting like a bleach bath is kind of how it feels. So if you find that you're extra sensitive right now, or things just feel like they're falling apart, you want to pay attention to what direction are you being pointed in because of it. So there might feel like I'm trying to pursue my plans, I'm trying to make things work, and things aren't gelling. They're not going the way I want them to. And you have to let go of that need for it to be perfect or follow that specific path, because a lot of us are getting redirected to the very same outcome that we want, but we're being sent to a different path, and it might feel clunky or like you're not prepared. And the whole idea is just adapt and go with it. Don't try to resist it. So the resistance to taking a different route actually creates that feeling of pain and suffering. Whereas if you're just like, oh, well, what is it? Nobody's perfect, right? Like nobody's perfect. Perfect isn't what it's about. I'm trying to get to a state of being, or I'm trying to create a new process or a new outcome. And the universe is like, great, let me take you on the back road. And it might feel like a bumpy ride or like not as refined as you might want it to be, but it's actually going to get you there. And it might even have like a faster energy to it, meaning it's moving to you there quicker, or be more potent once you get there. So our job right now is to just go with it, right? Just continue to focus on what you're trying to create for yourself, and allow the detour to happen, and just be like, okay, I guess we're taking this back road right now, and go for that bumpy ride, knowing that you're going to get to your destination, and you might even get a more potent result from taking the unexpected path. So yesterday was the Spirit Circle in Scorpio, and of course I do the New Moon Spirit Circle with that. And in the Spirit Circle, there's always a point in which we're doing a guided meditation that's coming through my team, and it's I'm a conscious channel, and I'm channeling with my team, so it feels very natural and normal. It's like a conversation I'm having out loud from my team with the group. But something really different happened yesterday. Let me put it this way. I've been wanting to consciously channel other groups for a long time. I've been working on that for 10 years. And I have to be honest, I've had a lot of resistance and fear to it. So it's something I've really wanted, and something I've been really afraid of or resistant to, just because the idea of, like, I don't want to be an unconscious channel. And an unconscious channel is someone who goes into a trance and kind of leaves their body and lets something else come in. I'm not into that. I don't want to have that experience. And a conscious channel is someone who is like, I'm still in me. So it's like being in a car, but instead of driving, you kind of climb into the back seat, but you're there in your body, and you're just allowing somebody else to kind of like guide the conversation. Well, yesterday, through this process, because I'm going through it with you, so, Scorpio is all this energy of turning a corner or making a shift is happening for people. And I had a shift yesterday happen, and I thought it was just such a small thing. It was something where I realized that, I'd been waiting for this for so long that I realized I was sort of waiting for permission or proof. And I know from, the work I do with other people that that's not how it works, right? First you put yourself out there, then you'll get the proof. Well, even though I know that, and even though I can guide other people to shift that and not wait for proof, I catch myself doing it. And yesterday I finally caught it. I was like, no wonder this isn't really happening for me. I've been waiting for either permission or proof, probably a little bit of both. And definitely set up by my ego, not something that's happening on a soul level. It's an ego thing, right? And whenever you find that you have fear or doubt kicking in, you can know your ego is definitely involved. And yesterday, I remember I had this big breakthrough, and something sort of shifted in me where I just decided, enough. I'm not doing that anymore. I am accepting this is what I am, and this is how I operate. And it just dropped in a little bit more fully. And at the time, I thought nothing of it. I thought, oh, good. I see it, and I busted through that block, and it felt good. And I kind of just put it at the back of my mind and kept moving forward. Well, at the Spirit Circle, during the meditation and channeling part, where I'm usually channeling my team, another group came in. I guess I opened something up, and the Arcturian Council came through and shared a message. It was a really interesting experience, very different feeling from my team. And when I was there with a group of people at the Spirit Circle, we were all kind of like, whoa, what was that? And kind of blown away by it. So I'm going to take that recording from the Spirit Circle, and I'm going to share it to my Modern Mystic Soul podcast so you can hear the exact message, because it was pretty potent, and it was pointed at the starseed. So if you resonate with the term starseed or light worker or wanderer, or indigo or crystal child, or whatever it is you're resonating with, if that resonates for you, definitely listen to that message, because they were sharing information about your mission at this time and what we're being asked to focus on. And so that was really, really potent. But one of the things the Arcturians are known for is their healing ability and the fact that they have mastered both cellular healing and emotional healing. And today I feel compelled to just remind you of what we're going through on this planet. So I know we're feeling, a lot of times we're most aware of what's happening to us on the emotional level because our emotions really grab our attentions. And of course, the physical level, we're aware of that, especially if we're feeling discomfort or pain. But on both of these levels, we're doing some major cellular healing and deep cleanup work. And not only are we just cleaning it up, we are upgrading at the same time. And so the message from the team today is just to remind you that this is an intense period of not only healing what needs to be healed, but also cellular turnover, regeneration, and upgrades, activating new cellular patterns in the body. And that can look like, many times it can look like pain and emotion coming out of the body. And you want to think about it like growing pains when you were a kid. I don't know if anyone remembers their growing pains. I remember I used to get lots of stitches in my sides, like getting side cramps was something I felt a lot. I notice my kids don't experience it that much. They get a lot of pain, a lot of growing pains in the ligaments and tendons, especially in their knees, because they're tall people. So they're really getting that stretched feeling. But I want you to think back to that when you were a child growing into, your teenage body and into your adult body. There was a lot of extra pain that you were feeling, and this pain wasn't signifying illness or that anything was wrong. Rather, it was the pain of growth. And we're experiencing that now as well. The children who come in now are already up to date. Like, their software is fully upgraded to what those of us who've been on the planet longer are upgrading to. So they're not experiencing the cellular upgrade as much as we are. Although, the longer they're on the planet, yes, they are getting upgrades, but not as intense as some people who've been on the planet longer. And we can experience lots of aches and pains, a lot of discomfort coming through the body. And what I want you to know is that all of that is part of your ascension growth. It's your ascension growth spurts that are coming through. So we've talked about, different symptoms before, but what I thought would be interesting is to sort of do a general talk about the areas you might feel it in and what it can be related to emotionally, because as these areas are getting cleared, that can cause pain, and as they upgrade, it can cause pain, and many times it's related to a few messages your body wants to share with you while you are moving through this, because the messages are very much about things usually that you need to pay attention to or let go of, right? There's a lot of times we're getting these messages first as a message from our own team. It might come in a thought form. It could come in the form of a dream or just like this download of knowing. And if we're not listening to that and taking that on, if we just kind of, again, push it to the back of our mind, well, then the body's like, I'll take it. I'll deliver the message. She'll definitely listen to me and relay the message to you that way. So I thought I'd go over this with you. Again, the body is very literal, and a great resource for learning more about the body and how it shares messages is Julia Cannon's book, which is called Soul Speaks. You can definitely listen to it on Audible. You can also get it to read. I think it's a good reference book, so I think getting the hard copy would be very helpful. But this is one of the tools that we use as a QHHT practitioner, so quantum healing hypnosis practitioner. We often look to the body for the messages it's sharing with us. Another book that is incredibly helpful for this, and I've had the book, but I also have these handy dandy flashcards just so I can get right to the areas that are affected, is called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And this is by Carol Trueman. Carol with a K. I know this is backwards, but Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. This is a great book also to have as reference because, again, everything happening in the body is a message to you. So as we're releasing things from our emotional self, we might feel it go through the body. And as we are doing cellular upgrade and activation, we might feel things that's like, hey, this isn't fully activating because it's stuck like in the back of your neck. So here's what that message means. So obviously, take a look. There's a lot. Well, a lot can be said. So I'm not going to go through everything. But I thought I'd pick 5 major areas that I'm hearing people are feeling pain. Just to give you kind of a heads up about what messages are connected to it. Now, what I find with this book is that not every message will resonate with you in the area. So it's not that you're getting all of those messages, but the one that resonates where you're like, okay, I can see that. That's the one that your body is trying to share with you. And the body can be very literal. For example, if you're having a lot of pain, a lot of tension in your shoulders, what do you think that means? What's a very literal reason? So if you're thinking like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, like Atlas carrying the globe, you would be right. That's talking about carrying an emotional burden. Like I feel emotionally burdened, or like I'm carrying a lot of heaviness, or I'm carrying a situation, or I feel like it's all on me. Those are the messages that your shoulders would be trying to share with you. So I want to go over 5 areas. And again, this isn't saying that these are the only 5 people are feeling, but these are the most common ones that I'm hearing from people. And I can share with you what the message is from the body to help you identify if that's the message your body's trying to send you. And if so, then you can work on clearing that so you don't have to experience it. All right, so let's start with a common one that people are feeling, which is headaches. Now, headaches often are letting you know there's tension and stress. That's pretty obvious, right? But here are a few emotional messages that are also connected to headaches. The inability to resolve emotional upsets. So unable to resolve your emotional upsets, hurt feelings going unexpressed, feelings of inner pressure working on you, feeling unable to control, feeling of fear and anxiety get the best of you, unpleasant relationships, inability to face an issue, or impatience with yourself that you haven't done enough. That's a lot to carry, and that's all hanging out in the tension in your head. All right, so another area a lot of people are feeling is neck pain. So on either side, maybe you're feeling locked up, or your neck's really tight, or you're getting a lot of readings of pain from your neck. Neck problems represent moving under pressure, wanting to let feelings out, but you don't dare, an inflexible state of mind, not wanting to yield to opinions you think are wrong. So again, not wanting to hear maybe the other side of something, maybe the other side of what you believe, and also non-acceptance or rejection of others. So you would be rejecting another. So another big area that people are experiencing a lot of pain in is the back. And the back is broken up into 3 sections. So we have upper, middle, and lower. So I'm going to go through each of those and share with you messages that are associated with each. For the upper back, this can bring out feelings of being unsupported or burdened emotionally, withholding your love from others, feeling agitated or anxious, and feelings of frustration. Now, that middle part of your back is letting you know that there are feelings of guilt, maybe feeling like you're not supporting yourself, so a lack of self-support, and lacking in self-confidence. And then if we hit the lower back area, the messages are feeling unsupported financially, experiencing fear where money is concerned, wanting to back out of something, in a relationship that hurts, or running away from a situation. One thing that people have been noticing, and I've noticed myself, is a lot of palpitations in the heart. And this freaks people out that there's heart palpitations. And there can be many different reasons for that, of course. If you're really worried about what's happening in your heart, you definitely want to seek medical assistance. That's not something we play with. But There's all sorts of reasons why. It's not necessarily like heart disease or heart issues. There can be other things going on too, including adrenal fatigue, which, if you've been in a lot of stress, which many people are, that can show up. And on an ascension level, the thymus is also reactivating. So our thymus gland shrinks as we get older. And with ascension, it's starting to expand again. And so when it does, it creates sort of a fluttering like a butterfly wings, and that can be felt in the heart area. But regardless of why you might be feeling energy in your heart, here are a few messages that are connected to the heart that might have a message from your heart here. So see which one resonates for you. So there's violating the laws of love, knowingly or unknowingly. Feeling of compassion or rejection being blocked. So your ability to feel compassion or rejection being blocked. Feelings of resentment and or hurt. Not feeling approval from others. Upsetting family problems. Having a difficult time forgiving, including forgiving yourself. Wanting to be released from responsibility, or in a relationship that hurts. So notice if any of those are resonating, if you're feeling stuff with the heart. Another area people are really feeling pain is in the knees. Now the legs are interesting because any part of the leg there are messages about resisting moving forward. So anytime we're feeling stuff in our legs, all the way from our hips down to our toes, there's usually a resistance to moving forward in your life as part of that message. But the knees specifically are sort of that bridge point. You need your knees to be able to walk forward. So it's a significant point where a lot of people can feel pain. And these are the messages associated with knees. So in general, the messages are about an inflexibility, maybe in the mind or your thinking, not wanting to bend, usually to authority. Your ego might be getting in the way, pride can get in the way, and being stubborn, wanting your own way. Now, if it's in the left knee specifically, the messages connected to that are a need to be more receptive to events and feelings of insecurity, and experiencing unresolved stress, where the right knee would indicate a need to be more assertive and not wanting to give in to authority. So you can see the right knee is more about this authority, where the left knee is more about feeling insecure. I know that's just a few body parts we listed. There's so much that goes on in our bodies that have messages. Everything that's happening on your body is connected to something that's being held on the subconscious level. Even pimples that show up and where they show up, they have a lot of meanings. Like it can mean allergies, it can mean other things, it can mean food, but it can also have emotional meanings tied to it about feelings of, being seen or feeling worthy. So it's really interesting to pay attention to what happens in the physical body as we're moving through this period of time, because it's letting you know, hey, these are the emotional things that need to be released. And I definitely resonate with some of the messages that are coming through with the areas where my body is like, hey, pay attention to this. And the goal is to, once we pay attention to it, to give ourselves permission to release it. And as you do so, you'll notice that as you release whatever it is you're holding on to emotionally, the pain seems to resolve. And with that, let's check out what the karma cards have to say this week. If you're new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for us this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers, a set in red, which are action, and a set in blue, which are outcome. And the way that you play is you tune in with your beautiful intuition and feel, what is the guidance you need this week? Are you looking for action-related guidance, or do you want to know how things resolve? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you are choosing, the timing for this reading is November 15th through the 22nd. And the flavor of this reading, well, we can't seem to get away from it, but Pluto is here. Pluto was the sub-ruler of the new moon in Scorpio, and it is the ruler of Scorpio. So that Scorpio type power purge energy is still here in the sign of Gemini, which is about communication and expression and learning. It comes up with Gemini as well. In the second house, and the second house deals with money, with possessions, and with our values. Also talks about patience and hard work and enjoying the fruits of your labor. So for those who are choosing action, your spiritual action at this time is to resurrect what you want to be known patiently. So I feel like what this message is letting us know is that we're, definitely in a time of, this is a great shift energy. Like I said, we're kind of being taken off maybe a personal course we've set and onto kind of this, like they keep showing me this bumpy dirt road through the woods. It's like, it's not the path you thought you were going to take, but you're on this other one. And so again, it's like stay in contact with where you're going. Just because you're not taking this main road doesn't mean you're not going there. And then the patiently part really feels like in the back of our minds, we're still being asked to remember that this is not a solo experience. This is a group experience. We're all going through it at the same time. So everyone feels like they're getting redirected. And there is a kind of chaos in that energy. It's like this, people who felt sure about something might feel really unsure about how to move forward. And everyone's trying to like gather, it's like marbles spreading out. So they're trying to gather these marbles together. And yet with the new moon, there was a lot of talk about like, there's a lot of compassion and patience coming up. Venus was activated and she was there assisting, and like there was a lot of compassion and negotiation and wanting to work together. And so this is still showing up in this reading, which shows me that even though we feel scattered, there is a desire to try and work with each other. And so patience is one of the ways that we do that, is we recognize that maybe we've gathered ourselves together faster than another person. And it's that allowing and having grace for the fact that this is one of the more messier turns that we've had to take recently. And people are still trying to gather their bearing about what's happening and what direction we're going in. And that's on a personal level as well as on a bigger global level as well. We're watching that. We're watching chaos. We're watching situations that people don't feel like they fully understand and grasp. But I feel like a lot of people are like trying to understand. They want to work together. And because we don't understand what this road looks like, it definitely looks like it's leading to something that people don't want, but we don't know why on the group level. Some of us understand why, because there's very much a plan in place for us to wake up. We have to see it. We have to stop agreeing to things that we don't agree with. We have to stop being a part of agendas that we don't realize we're a part of. And that's part of what we're learning at this time. We're going to get that. I do have a lot of faith in humanity, but in the meantime, people are trying to gather their bearings. So we're being asked to be patient. Just know where you're going, right? So on the group level, it's the highest timeline. It's the best outcome. It's the ascension path. That's where we're going. Right now, what's happening in the world looks like we really veered off course from that, right? Like many people are like, I don't know if this is going to happen. It's happening. We're going there. We're taking an unconventional route, and that's also happening on the personal level. Mental action at this time. Get to the heart of what is believed about what you want. This is about your plan. What you thought your plan looked like. Because again, the universe, it's a beautiful and quirky place sometimes where we think we know what this is going to look like when we get it, and it's not at all. And how many times has that happened in your own life, right? Where you had your goal, you saw the vision, you're like, this is what it's going to look like to get there, and you got there, but it didn't look like what you thought it would look like. That's where we are again. So again, we're being asked to, they're saying, stop trying to figure out how. That's our job. That's the bigger we's job, right? That's the universe's job. That's source, God, whatever you want to call it. That's their job. Our job is to just know what we want. Know what you want and trust that the universe is going to deliver it. And I love to use the metaphor about going to a restaurant because it's one of the ones where it makes the most sense for us. So when we go into a restaurant, our job is to pick what we want to eat and share that with the server who can share it with the kitchen. We are not there to figure out how they're going to make it. And notice that when you go to a restaurant, I don't think anyone that I know of, anyone that understands how a restaurant works, would get up from the table, go into the kitchen, be like, you got to make it this way, and this way, right? Like, this is how you make it. No, you go to the restaurant and all you have to do is say exactly what you want and then sit back and let it come to you. And you have full trust. Like, no one goes to the restaurant and goes, I don't know if they're going to make what I asked for. You know they are, right? So you get to go along for the experience. And we're being asked to remember that your job is to be very specific about what you want, about what timeline you want to be on, the person you're going to be when you get there, like your goals, the thing that gives you purpose. Get really specific about that. And yeah, spend time thinking about that, crafting it, honing it, like refining it. Give yourself a lot of time doing that, but don't worry about how it happens, because as soon as you've decided, the universe has taken your order and is already underway making it. You don't know what that's going to look like. You don't know how it's going to direct you or what road it's going to put you on necessarily. All you have to do is trust that it's definitely going to give you the outcome that you're seeking, whether it's an outcome to a situation, whether it's an outcome to your life because you become the person who lives that kind of life. And they're going to show you how, and they're going to direct you in the ways that are most suitable for you creating the life you want. And if you feel like the universe might be throwing you around or you're not getting the results, then what you can know is you haven't been as specific as you could be, right? And this is one of the things that we work on in like the Epic Year workshop, is we work on get specific, get uncomfortably specific to the point in which you're like, I don't know if that's going to happen. Like, I don't know if I can dictate to that level. Well, the more specific you are, the more likely you're going to create outcomes that match that. And you're going to become the person who does and experiences the things that you want to do and experience. All right, physical action, do what you must, use the quickest way, and get what you need. Okay, again, they're showing me that they're going to sidetrack you. They're going to take you off on the side road. So do what you must, like adapt, right, to the situation. This is the quickest way. They're guaranteeing this weird route that you're on right now where you're like, I don't feel prepared. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. I'm not ready for that. They're like, trust us, you're ready. Just do it with whatever you got right now. Go. That's going to be the most direct route to getting your needs met right now with whatever the universe is throwing at you. So meaning, like, if the universe throws a situation at you, don't resist, don't bat it away, catch it. I'm like, oh gosh, okay, this is weird. I thought I would have, I thought I was going to get a different kind of day today, but this is what I'm getting. Trust what they're giving you, that it's the quickest route and it's going to get you to what you need faster. The universe is a very loving and benevolent place when you accept that it is. If you believe it's not, if you believe it's chaos or random or cold, you're helping create that experience of it. It's your perception of it that creates that experience. When you accept that it's a benevolent place, and even if it throws a curveball at you, that curveball is for your highest good, then you really start to see it in your experience. So now let's take a look at outcomes for Pluto in Gemini in the second house. The spiritual outcome at this time is the need for control of information to explain your beliefs. I feel like this comes up because what's happening right now creates a lot of insecurity. Again, human beings tend to want to have control over what's going on. A lot of us have control issues. I think that maybe those control issues might come from this sort of bigger control matrix we've been stuck inside, and that's very unnatural. I think that creates a lot of control issues in us, but that comes up because now the universe is like, well, I'm going to throw you off. That feels even, you feel even less in control now. Now it's a bigger source that's like making you go sideways when you want to go straight ahead, right? So I feel like part of what's coming up here is the power of meaning is coming up here. Like either this means something to you, or we actually already we usually ascribe meaning to things straight off the bat. So either I've heard people like universe doesn't talk to me, or the universe doesn't seem to like me, it's like, which I don't believe that, but that's a meaning they're giving the situation to help explain why everything goes pear-shaped. Or some people say, you know what, must not have been for my highest good, so this must be better. I can't see how it's better yet, but I'm assuming this must be better if that's what they're giving me, right? So we assign meanings to situations, and that tends to be especially helpful when we feel like it's something overwhelming that's out of our control. It helps us to stay grounded, and it helps us to make sense of what feels like it's nonsensical. And so that's what's kind of going on right now at the spiritual level. Mental outcome at this time, an obsession with communication about what you value. So again, there's a lot of trying to like make sense or explain what's going on, especially when we're in chaotic periods of time, which we are, and we will continue to be, because we're in the part of the movie where we're at the hero feels like all is lost. It's the all is lost moment. That's the part of the movie we're in, and every hero's journey has one. It's right before the major turnaround and the hero bounces back. There's an all is lost moment, and this all is lost moment can last for a bit, and that's where we're sort of at. So again, trying to get really clear on what you value happens. Now what we've got to be careful of is this need to be superior in our values, which is really tricky, and this is where we have gotten stuck so many times as human beings, because ultimately human beings pretty much all want the same thing. It's just how to get to that thing that they usually disagree on, and this is based on values. So when we have that, then we have an obsession with proving why my values are more important or better than your values, right? And how this value is more valuable than that one. And this is where we get into polarizing or divisive conversations. Like, my God is better than your God, right? Or, my belief system is the right belief system. These kinds of things happen. So this is happening on the global scale for sure, but it can also be happening at the personal level. So when things seem to go sideways and everyone's like, well, maybe it's how you are approaching things that's wrong, there's going to be this obsession or need to communicate, possibly even defend. Although we do have this more negotiating energy kind of coming in right now on the cosmic level. But this overthinking and overemphasizing of values are very important. You should know your personal values, and they should be very clear to you, because it'll help you make good choices that are in alignment with you. But when it comes to comparing and who's right and who's wrong, this is where we get into trouble, and we get really divisive. And the message that came through from the Arcturians that I'm going to put on my podcast was about doing the opposite. If you're a starseed, we're not here to be divisive. We're not here to play hierarchy or pick sides. We're here to unify, and we're here to try and understand it all and hold space for all. So the urge to do it is very strong, but the awareness of going too far is something we need to keep in mind. Physical outcome at this time, a power struggle resulting from the fluctuations of your resources. This feels like the power struggle that's happening on the resisting the universe right now. So again, the universe might be tampering with your path, how you're going to do something, like taking away resources. Like, for example, I was watching a YouTuber who was sort of talking on this topic, and he was talking about how, usually he likes to do this video with the fancy camera setup in a studio space, but none of those were available at this time, and he wanted to deliver the video. That was the most important thing. So he had to do it kind of scrappy with his phone in a hallway, right? It wasn't the ideal situation, but getting to the point, which was getting the information out there, was necessary. And so he talked about how instead of struggling against it and stressing out and being like, oh, this isn't perfect and it's not right and it's not what people expect, it was more about, this is my mission. It's what I'm here to do right now, and I got to do it with whatever resources are available. So again, you might feel like universe is futzing around with how you're going to do something or what's available to you in the time, and you just got to get scrappy with it. It's like, think about, what's your goal right now? What's the mission? What's your purpose right now? What are you trying to do? And relax and let go of the perfection or the ideal. We're not getting that right now. We're in flux. There's resourcing flux right now, or path flux, or timing, or all this is in flux right now. And again, there is a desire in us to kind of maintain what I know and how I do things. That's the struggle. If you keep trying to hold on to what you've established right now, you're going to feel a lot of pain of the fluctuations. You're going to feel like you're being stalled or delayed. But if you can roll with it and be adaptive, you'll keep moving forward. And you might move forward faster than you thought. And it might break some self-limiting beliefs along the way. Like, I thought I had to be this in order to do something. Turns out I don't. So it can actually give you a lot if you're willing to get a little messy with it and allow that the universe is going to throw curveballs right now. While it does it, just try to roll with it, try to enjoy it, and know that there's a good reason, and then you're still going to get to where you want to go. You just have to be really flexible and okay with it at this time. So with that, I am sending you so much love. Mwah. Leave a comment. Let me know, did this particular video help you? Did it help you to think about the messages coming from your body? Was what I mentioned something you're experiencing, or are you experiencing something else? Was it a different area that I didn't even touch on? Put it in the comments, let me know, and I can let you know what that area is also trying to say. So with that, I will see you next week.